find ourselves in a sad place this Saturday, obviously here in this community in Greater Manchester, but in the country as a whole. I wanted to come back today after the vigil of yesterday to make sure the community knows that the real hurt that was expressed yesterday has been heard. I wouldn't come back with simplistic solutions. Instead, I think we need practical measures based on bottom-up, cross-party, cross-faith, cross-community dialogue, and Greater Manchester is certainly ready to lead in that. The solutions are as likely to be found here in communities as they are in Westminster. And I would just say in that spirit, it was really important to welcome the leader of the opposition here today. We appreciate her visit. I'm sure the community does too. In fact, you could see that. And I do think that should set the right tone as we reflect this weekend, but we must come back with a more understanding dialogue of people seeing each other's perspective. I think we're living in times where people almost sort of double down on their own viewpoint of the world and don't listen, and we need to reflect at this particular moment.
The Manchester Mayor, Andy Burnham, speaking to me just a few minutes ago. Of course, he mentioned the leader of the opposition, Kemi Badenoch, who is, of course, here in Manchester for the Conservative Party conference, but said she wanted to join Andy Burnham and police officers in coming back to the scene. And I caught up with her as well, and she said that it had been clear in her view that tensions in communities like this had increased since the attacks in Israel, in the Middle East on October the 7th. She described what happened here as homegrown terrorism, and said that the government need to take greater steps to protect communities like this. Here's what she had to say.
Just a horror that this could happen on our streets. This is stuff that we read about happening in other countries. Jewish people should feel safe in Britain. They should not feel terrorized. Many of them have told me that they want to leave. They'd rather go to Israel. Israel is at war. We need to make sure that we provide a safe environment for Jewish people.
Of course, there is quite a significant police operation investigation still ongoing here in Manchester. As I said at the start, there are forensic officers still just beyond me, just beyond the satellite dish there. There are forensic officers. There's still a tent outside the synagogue where this attack happened, where 2 people lost their lives. And as you said, Jonathan, we've heard some heartbreaking tributes paid to those who died. And we also believe that there are still people in hospital with their injuries. But there is also police investigations beyond this cordon. 3 people were arrested not far from here in a semi-detached house earlier this morning, actually yesterday. And so we can glean from that these police investigations are broadening, and police will of course be following all the lines of inquiries. It's the Sabbath here, people observing the Sabbath. It's quite quiet around here now. The people I've been talking to are concerned. I was just talking to an 11-year-old boy and his dad. The 11-year-old boy witnessed the police springing into action here on Thursday. He said he heard the gunfire and ran back to home to see his mum, and he said he's been traumatised ever since. So the shockwaves are still very much running through this community, but to see 2 politicians on the street of different parties talking about a cross-party solution to this, Andy Burnham saying we must find solutions to the problems from the ground up, repeating what he said yesterday, an attack on one is an attack on all, he said.